with. Wherever you are at on your path, first thing I probably would like to say is that you're right on time. On your own path, you're right on time. My therapist has had to tell me that for a long time. I'm right on time, right on time. No matter what that time is, you're just right on time. And so what I wish, what I would hope, and what I would pray for this moment would be that you would discover how holy your path is, how personal it is, how personal this Jesus is, how really good he is. Sorry, I just launched in. I'm going to try to find some jokes or something, because good God. But I feel like I kept hearing the phrase back from the dead. I feel like I've come back from the dead to tell you something. Tell you something about dying. Wow, encouraging. Write that down in your journal. Tell you something about that there really is life on the other side. And it's not just a vapor, it's not just some afterlife situation where all our problems go away. We actually get to die now so that we can actually fully live. It's amazing. It costs everything. But then all of a sudden we reemerge and we find out we had everything we needed all along. We just didn't know it. And we kept trying to insulate ourselves with different definitions and identities and personas until all of those just didn't work anymore. They don't work anymore. They work for us until they stop. They work for us until crisis hits. Because it's been said that psychologically, by the time we're 12, sorry, I just launched in. I figured we only have a few minutes and I just want to spend them wisely. I hope that's okay. It's been said that by the time we're 12, we've already determined what we believe about God, ourselves, and everyone else in the world. And it's not necessarily through conscious teaching, it's through subconscious training. Meaning that we talk about in scripture, there's poetic language for this, blessings and curses, through many generations actually follow through in our DNA strands, right? It's a subconscious principle reality that we are born into. It's a fallen world system. I'll say that again. There's a subconscious principle reality that we all are born into, and it's a fallen world system, and it's based off of the small understanding of how special we actually are. And so we come into this world with an original goodness that's intact, but it begins to get a little clouded over by all these other principle realities that we are subconsciously taught. It's the unspoken things. Right? It's the unspoken things. There's something that happens in us when shame comes into the picture and we split ourselves between who we really are and how we present ourselves to the world. Does that make sense? I hope I'm making sense. And all these structures, these subconscious structures are actually meant to try to help us survive in a world that we deem as hostile. And so as we grow older, our tendency is to actually get more and more insulated and smaller and smaller. It's an intriguing thing. We come to the world wide-eyed as children, ready to experience and learn. And we don't know shame until we're taught it. We don't know until we're told otherwise. We don't know. We don't understand unworthiness until shame enters the picture. Like we're born worthy. You'll notice that babies have no problem asking for what they need. All of us came into the world that way. When we were hungry, we cried out. When we needed affection, we cried out. We expected that somehow someone would show up on time. We didn't even have language for it, right? That'd be kind of creepy. If we showed up like 3 weeks in, I would like a hug, please. Terrifying. But that's just a backstory. I mean, all of us have it. I just want to be really clear. This is like the common ground. All of us have this personalized life experience that we walk into the world with. And I do believe that the way Jesus walks us through our path is this beautiful unwinding of all these things that we subconsciously were taught through the fallen world system. He gives us a new mind, a new way of thinking, a new way of perceiving. He restores things back to the original goodness. Remember how it started in Genesis 1 with everything being good before it became not good? Our story didn't start in Genesis 3 with the fall. Our story started with original goodness. And Jesus came to remind us of what we forgot. And when he forgave us on the cross, remember what he said? I'll never forget this. I hope I never forget this. It's in the scripture, so that's a good thing. So we can return to it always. When he and the Father were having a conversation on the cross, and he was crying out, and he was singing the Psalm of David, "Why have you forsaken me?" That was him embodying all of humanity's loneliness, by the way. I don't believe for a second that the Father wasn't with him in the experience. It was him embodying all of humanity's loneliness and experience of unconsciousness. And then, what does Jesus say? His prayer of forgiveness goes something like this: forgive them, they don't know what they're doing. Jesus forgives the unconscious innocence in us that we don't know better. We don't know better. And forgiveness looks like embracing and relearning the way of Christ, following in the way of Christ, all the way through the cross, into death, and out the other side. Sorry, this isn't really a shiny message, I guess, but it really is. It really is. Because as far as context goes, the reason why I say I feel like I came back from the dead a little bit is because a couple of years ago, I was married, and my marriage came to an end. That marriage came to an end. And out of extreme respect and dignity for both my story and his and ours, I have gone quiet, and I will stay quiet about a lot of things because it's mine and it's his and it's ours. And I trust the Lord with the rest. However, what's so brilliant is that I walked straight into a hell that felt tailor-made for me. Walked straight into the center of everything I ever feared. Every subconscious principal reality of fear started playing out right in front of me. What will people think? What will the Christian community do? What will my parents think? What do I think about this? What do I think about myself? There were days when I wanted to die. And I'm not trying to say this for dramatic sake. Please understand. I know some of us probably in this room are going through extreme heartbreak, and some of us have been there, and some of us are in a spring season. So what I'm hoping is that this just simply meets you in your season. This is not a narcissistic reflection of my pain. Pain is just simply universal. And all of us will go through it. Jesus went through it. And I do believe this now standing here. I think for the longest time I approached Jesus as though he was here to save me from my pain, but instead I'm finding that he's teaching me how to walk through it. He teaches us how to walk through every season, including winter when things die off. There wasn't a lot that survived the fire, I'll be very honest with you. There wasn't a lot that survived the internal flame of my own ego and my own definition of who I was, my identity. But man, it just got so good. It got so much better. He really is as good as you think he is, but so much better than you think he is. Christ is in every single season, including the ones that feel the most uncomfortable, including the ones where my worship simply looked like screaming into a pillow for a long time. Sometimes we think about pure worship being this situation where we walk into a gathering such as the one we just had and we lop off pieces of ourselves or we deny them in order to somehow purify ourselves in order to worship. That's not how it works. We enter into the presence that has always sustained us, bringing everything with us as an offering. I'll give you my anger. I will give you my resentment. I will give you my bitterness. I will give you my sadness. I will give you my disappointment. Not just for a quick turnaround. This isn't a microwave. There's space enough in the Christ for every single experience that you have had and ever will have. Every trauma in your family, in your lineage. There's space in the Christ. It's a spacious Christ. So spacious. Is this connecting at all? I hope so.